Okay, so this is activity 9.2, parallel lines. It says use a piece of tracing paper to trace lines A and B in point K. All right. Then use that tracing paper to draw the images of the lines under the three different transformations listed. And your number one was you're supposed to translate lines A and B 3 units up and then 2 units to the right. So take your tracing paper that you had, line it up real neat. I always do mine on the corner so they fit real nice. Then what I do, I look for like a point where it's hitting real nice, because remember, translation, we have to move in a straight line. So I just pick me a point where I can go like maybe right here. I say, okay, there's a point where it hits, and of course that one's off the grid, but I could kind of mark this one here. So that's hitting on the corners, so I know I just go straight up 3. So this will be like 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. Then it should be, yeah, this one should be 3 also. 1, 2, 3. Just make sure that's even. Then I'm going to put my points, I'm going to push down hard so my points will come through on my grid. And I'm probably going to do it for the B line too, so I can know exactly where to draw my line. I think it's supposed to be, crooked there. I moved it just a little bit. It's supposed to be right there. All right. So I'm going to try to get them to come through. I think I can see where they go. There's one, there's one. I think that was one, and there should be one right under there. All right. So let's take our rulers. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Hold on here. Started here, and we go 1, 2, 3. And it should be, can't really see my point there, so I'm just double checking. Point's supposed to be here and there. There we go. Got one point in the wrong place. I knew it didn't look quite right. All right, then take your ruler and just connect your points. Get them as straight as you can. All right, so that will be one line. And set up just a little. This will be the other. Then you said to label those. So if you look, A prime should be on the top, and B prime should be on the bottom. Okay? And let me see, you also had a question that went along with this. It says for A, what did you notice about the changes that occurred in lines A and B after the translation? Well, if you looked, all 4 lines, A, B, and A prime and B prime, they're all parallel to each other. Okay. Line A prime and B prime look the same as A and B. The only thing different is they just shifted up a little bit. That's the only thing different that we have. All right. Okay, so then number 2 says rotate lines A and B counterclockwise 180 degrees around point K. So once again, we're going to take our tracing paper, line it back up, get it on there real nicely, make sure your K is lined up. Okay, that looks about right. Remember, counterclockwise, we have to go backwards, so we're going in the opposite hands in which the clock turns. So I'm going to use a different color for this one so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so it says point K. So I'm going to put my pen on point K, and it says 180 degrees, so I know I have to turn my paper twice, because one time will be 90, then the other time would be 180. So this one would be 90. Then if I turn it again one more time, that would be 180 right here. Okay, so did you see what it done? It kind of lined right back up on that one. So I only really need to draw one line here. So I'm going to push down. I'm going to try to make me a point right here to come through my paper. It's hard with a pen because it's kind of waxy. Let me get my pencil here. and see if I can push down and make it. And let's say should be, this point should be about right here. Okay, so it'll be right here and right there is where I want. I'm trying to get them as straight as I can. I'm going to lift up my paper and I'm going to cover my points in. Alright, then all I have to do is take my ruler and draw my line. Remember that lines are infinite. If you're trying to make them all the same size, it's okay because lines can go on forever in both directions. So that might be a little confusing to you as to why some of the lines are shorter than others on here. But we're just drawing part of the line so we can kind of see what we're doing here. You don't have to draw the whole line. Remember, you can't really draw a whole line because they go on forever. I'm going to trace over this, and remember that it's actually part of this line here too. I'm just going to trace back over it so you can see. So B, so what I'm going to say is B would equal the image of B here, and this one, the other line would be the image of A on that one. Okay, then I think we have a question here we need to answer about it. It says, what do you notice about the changes that occurred in line A and B after the rotation? Okay, so what I said, the new pair of lines, prime A and prime B, are also parallel to the original ABs over here, okay? They're still parallel, okay? What is the same in the original and what is the same in the original and in the image, okay? So lines prime A and prime B, once again, they're still parallel and they're also still the same distance apart. The distance apart didn't change a bit, did it? If you take your ruler or you can just look where you have 2 points, you'll notice that that did not change. And also over here, if you notice when we did the translation, it still has the same distance apart. That did not change in either the translation or the rotation that we did. Okay? All right, so let's look at the next one. Okay, so number 3 says reflect line AB across line H. Okay, so let's do that and see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to line my original back up. I also drew the reflection line on this. I find that very helpful when I perform a reflection. It helps me very much stay where I need to be. So once you get it all lined back up, you know, so everything, like I said, this is the reflection line here. It's not part of the parallel lines that we're moving. It's the line we're reflecting over. Okay, so let's just turn our paper over, line it back up as we can. All right, get it on there real straight. Then I'm going to find a couple points to kind of hit so I can draw my line. I think that'll be the easiest way to do it. So I'm looking at it. I'm going to use a pencil to push down hard, I think, so I can see where my points are. That looks like it's pretty lined up there. So I'm going to go ahead and find me a couple points here's one here that's kind of even. There's the other line there, it's even. I'm just going to look for another couple points that won't this one looks good. I'm going to push down there, push down here. I might need to lift up my paper so I can draw my points in there so I can connect them. Here and right here. Then I'm just going to take my ruler again and connect my points. Okay. I'm going to use a different color here so you know which one I'm working on. It's not the same as the others. This is number 3, the reflection. So I'm just going to draw my line. Boom, boom. And I'm going to draw the other one. Get them straight here. All right, so just put that on. That looks pretty good. And remember, I still have to label them. So remember reflection. So now this bottom line here is going to be prime A, top will be prime B. Okay, so then I know we have some questions to answer about this, so let's take a look what it says. It says, what do you notice about the changes that occurred in lines A and B after the reflection? We're talking about your original, okay, and we just translated the original over the reflection line H, and they want to know what changes did we see. Well, I saw something. I saw that line A is above line B, where the image of B, excuse me, is above the image of line A now. So they kind of traded places there. Okay. So now you got B on top, the image of B on top, and the image of A on the bottom. Okay. All right, then I think I got one more question. It says, what is the same in the original and in the image? Okay, so for the image of A and the image of B, they are still parallel lines, correct? This is A and B is a parallel line, and so is the image of A and the image of B, or we could say prime A and prime B. They're all still parallel lines, and they're all still have the same distance apart, okay? All right, so did we notice that one thing that we should have noticed about when we did the reflections, the translations, and the rotations, we should have noticed that these are still rigid transformations, so the distance of the distance apart on the parallel lines never changed each time. That was one thing that stayed the same each time. Each time when we did our translation, when we did our rotation, and when we did our reflection. Because it's a rigid transformation, the distance apart always remained the same, and so they always remain parallel lines. It didn't change that. Okay, even though it put them in different places on the grid, it never changed the fact that all these transformations are rigid, so they all remain to be parallel lines.